What's up, Melanated family? This is your boy Harrison Man bringing you a brand new episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. I'm definitely happy to be back for another week. I'm happy to have everybody with us today. So, what we're going to do, we're going to get everything started here in a minute. But first, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, become a subscriber to the Melanated Fathers TV YouTube channel. On that page, of course, you'll find this show, the Melanated Combo podcast. You'll also find History Matters, where I talk a lot about people, places, and things from history. You'll find the news stories as well, where I keep you up to date with things going on in our community, things that I feel that are important. And of course, we always have a bomb ass topic, right? Lately, and for the foreseeable future, every show will pretty much have a guest on it. You know what I mean? So I'll bring a guest on so we can have like interesting, introspective conversations. Just to get a better understanding of whatever it is we're talking about at that time, right? So today, me and my sister Shireen Briggs, I'm going to bring her on in a minute, but today we're going to talk about mental health in the hood, like mental health in our neighborhoods. How do we define it? Why are people not getting help? How long have we been dealing with these issues? How does systematic racism play a part in our mental health? So we're going to talk about all that. Also, we're going to have a little fun, and we're going to touch on expectations in relationships, right? Because me and my sister got a couple differences about how things been going, just as far as relationships are concerned and how men see women and women see men, vice versa. You feel me? So we're going to talk a little bit about that too, right? So first things first, family, let's get to the Black businesses. Every show, at the beginning of the show, I talk about Black businesses because I always say, the health of our community, in my opinion, depends a lot on where we spend our money and how we spend our money. So it's important that we support people who look like us and create our own little Black Wall Street, right? I just spoke about a in Stonecrest, Georgia, I think it is. There's a big shopping center they created that they're calling the new Black Wall Street. And there's like 115 shops and a whole bunch of places to eat. So things like that inspire me, and that is just like a step in the right direction. You know what I mean? Because just understanding how important finances are. When we talk about politics, when we talk about white supremacy, racism, all these things, money can be a positive attribute to affecting how people treat us in our community. You know what I mean? And we spend billions of dollars a year with people outside of our community. Now, I'm not telling you to not go to Walmart or not shop at a particular place that's not Black. I mean, we live in a white man's world, damn near. So most of the places you go to will have a white owner, but you can mitigate that by finding Black businesses that you want to support. You know what I mean? So first Black business. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Real quick. So first Black business. This is a company I found today, actually, called Mahogany Books. So all of my reading lovers, everybody out there who love to read, like myself, which should be all of us, you know what I mean? If we look at some of the crime in our community, if we look at some of the dysfunctions and why some of the men in our community, and women to a degree, commit crimes. Like if you go and look at some of the statistics with the men and women in the penitentiary, some of their reading level is 3rd and 4th grade reading level, right? So in my opinion, that has a lot to do with their willingness to commit a crime or be violent, because they don't necessarily have the vocabulary to articulate what they're feeling at the time. So they resort to violence and other things like that. So reading has always been extremely important to me. It should be to you too, especially with your kids and things like that. So this is mahoganybooks.com. This is a Black-owned company. There's children and young adult books, cultural literacy with, religion, history, biography, things of that nature, nonfiction books, which I like nonfiction books too. I read a lot of things about history, but I like Jerome Dickey book or different nonfiction authors who create good stories. And just in reality, I think I've read a nonfiction book that was probably better than any movie I ever seen. You know what I mean? Just because how descriptive it is and how much it doesn't leave out. Whenever you see a movie that's been made out of a book, they remove a lot of the content for the sake of time. You know what I mean? So books are always better, in my opinion. So for your kids, if you got a birthday coming up, if you got some holiday coming up that you celebrate, go to Mahogany Books That's Mahogany, Mahogany Books. So instead of going to Barnes and Nobles or some of the places that we have become familiar with, you can actually go here and get a book directly from somebody who looks like you, and it's very professional. I think you get the book between like 3 and 7 days or something like that. The books aren't heavenly priced, but shit, we spend a lot of money on other things, so we should spend a lot of money on our intellect and just um, focusing on getting an understanding about different things, right? And I mean, when you read, you actually use all the muscles in your body.
Right.
Sitting still like that and reading uses all the muscles in your body. So there's a lot of positive attributes to reading besides just gaining knowledge, right? So I want everybody to do me a favor and go to mahoganybooks.com. Go there today, buy a book. If you buy a book and it came on time and you're happy with it, use your social media for shit like that. Go on there and tell everybody how happy you are about it. Put their website, like use your social media to pump up things that you like and things that you're experiencing and involving your people. You feel me? So that is Mahogany Books. Mahogany Books. Go there today, get yourself something to read. Now, next black business. I've talked about this company before, but I really like them, and I purchased clothes from here. So let me share my screen really quickly here. And like I said, in a minute, I'm gonna bring my sister on, and we're gonna chop it up one time today. Let's see here. All right, so there it goes there. Oh, also something I forgot to mention. If you're listening to this on one of the digital platforms, I appreciate you as well. Um, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Spotify, all of these places you can find the Melanated Convo podcast. The downloads go up daily. I'm completely um, appreciative of that type of support. I know you guys can't see me, but you can hear me and you can feel me. You feel me? So please continue to leave reviews. Continue to like the show on those digital platforms. It affects the algorithms in a positive manner. So it's important that we continue to, focus on the digital side of things as well. So I appreciate my YouTube family and my Facebook family, but people who don't got the time to sit and watch someone on a video, it's all good. You can find the show on all of the places I just mentioned. Just look up the Melanated Convo podcast. So this next business is a company called Melanin Apparel. If you like me, I appreciate wearing shirts and clothing that represents who we are as a people, right? And this website, not only will you get your product in a timely manner, but the shirts are the shirts are quality, the hats are quality. I've bought several things from this website. If you can see here, they got joggers, sweatsuits, just real fly apparel, family. We spend a lot of money on clothes like on a yearly basis, and a lot of times spending money with people outside of our community. And again, I'm not asking you to completely stop doing that, but let's get a handle on it a little bit. You if you're gonna spend $500 on some clothes, spend 150 of that on with somebody black. I would spend more, but shit, start small. Spend 150 of that on somebody that look like you. So you got apparel, you got different collections with their apparel. There is home decor. Let's take a look at that. Hold on one second. So you got home decor. So you got the Kobe and Nipsey blanket, brown butterfly blanket, that Malcolm X pillow, that famous picture of Malcolm X standing next to the window with that thing on him. You feel me? So all these things you can find at melaninaapparel.com. Real nice hats. And me personally, everybody may not be comfortable walking around with a shirt that represents black unity or black power, but I'm not one of those people. Like everything about what I wear and who I am as a person, I like that to be represented in how I dress and what I put on my body. You know what I mean? All of us should be that way. But please do me a favor, family. Go to Melanin Apparel today. If you got somebody, look at that little tote bag right there. That's kind of fucking dope. I ain't a chick, but that's kind of dope right there. If you got somebody in your family with a birthday coming up, you got one of these bullshit holidays that you sell, one of these holidays that you celebrate. You know what I mean? There's a lot of reasons to buy people things. Christmas is coming up pretty soon here. You know what I mean? Even though I don't rock on Christmas like that, I understand the concept and I understand the concept for our babies. But you know what I mean? Go here and buy yourself something nice, buy your man something nice, buy your girl something nice. There is clothing for women as well. Let me see if it shows it here. Hold on one second. Let me see. I like that be for women. Yeah, leggings and joggings and different stuff like that. So this is for the women. You know what I mean? Get yourself some black power leggings. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So everybody go to melaninapparel.com. If you spend $75, the shipping is free. I repeat, if you spend $75, you'll get free shipping. So I just appreciate that Black people in our community are putting their best foot forward to provide us with products and services that we can really use, and the quality of it matters. You know what I mean? Like I always say, I mean, I want you to support Black businesses, but I don't want you to negate the fact that quality needs to be a part of that equation. Like I'm not going to give you my money just because you're Black. It's really a tiebreaker. You and another company are selling a particular product that I like. In the tiebreaker, you guys both have a product. You guys both put a lot into your product. Both products are quality. And the tiebreaker is that you look like me. You know what I mean? So go to Melanin Apparel today and check out some of that gear. Again, if you like the gear, if you buy something, go to social media, share it with all your folks, let everybody know where you got the products from. You feel me? So let's go. So on my show today, hold on one second. On my show today is my sister Shireen Briggs from Power Moves Present. She's a journalist, up and coming podcaster. She does a lot of things, a little entertainment company popping. What's up, Shireen? How you doing?
Indeed. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Shireen Briggs, with Power Moves Presents. A lot of people ask what Power Moves Presents is, so I'm going to go over it just really quickly. Power Moves Presents is basically an entertainment company in that basically all of my journalism, all of my writings, and all of my documentaries and video, anything that I have coming up in regards to the journalism world is underneath Power Moves Presents. And then also in other avenues that I deal with, like my organization Action, Advocating Change Today, Inspiring Others Nationwide, which focuses more on community building, which focuses more on the mental health and overall well-being of young girls, Black girls, brown girls, girls that are in underserved populations, born and raised there. Like I was born and raised in Meadowview. So girls that grew up without their father. So that would be Action. So you would have Power Moves Presents Action. And then also when I sit down one-on-one and have interviews, then you'll see Power Moves Presents a Power Moment with Shireen Briggs. So just be looking out for that. I do have a new episode of my iconic interview with Fred Hampton Jr., the movie The Black Messiah, Judah and the Black Messiah. Yep. Is based on Fred Hampton Jr.'s father, Fred Hampton. For all of you who don't know who Fred Hampton is, please research him and then watch the movie, and then you will see that I interviewed his son, and I will be posting that later. Hey, you were talking about books, Harrison. I wanted you know about the young about our Queen Mother, Dana, right? Dana Maisha. Yes. So what I want to do is, can we have like a moment of silence for her? Like about like 10 moments, 10 seconds.
Yes, let's do it now.
Let's pay homage to her. And then also talking about books. She was very passionate in regards to literacy and making sure that our Black kids and our Black youngsters read. Because if you don't read, really, it's kind of hard to be as powerful and who you want to be. And so reading is indeed key. And so she does have her bookstore that is still open. I just bought post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yes. And I the past 2 weeks, actually, I talked about all things literacy on the show.
Yes, and I remember. So we're going to say it one more time because we want the people to go support.
Yes,
she has a family, a young daughter that just had a baby. And so all things literacy at the African Market on 2251 Florin Road. And we're going to have a moment of silence for Dana really quick. Ashe.
Yes.
Power to the Queen Mother Dana.
Yes, and she was so, and I met her in passing. Of course, I was always at the African Marketplace. I've been a part of a few events that she put on, and that she was there, and her energy, she was just so radiant. And like I was telling people on the show, we should all strive to be like her to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
just meaning the sister not here no more, but literally her legacy is going to live on forever because
Right.
of how much she gave to everybody around her and how much
Right.
she put herself out there for the community. Anybody who is attempting to do like community work, start a business in the Black community, all these things, you can understand how much of an uphill battle it is at times, how much of
Right.
a thankless job it is at times, where it ain't even about the money. Like money ain't even pouring in like that at times. So it's really
Exactly.
a labor of love. So anybody I see using their life as a vessel for other people, it just inspires me based on what I've decided to do with my life. And you know what I mean? So I
Exactly.
was shocked. And it's funny because I reached out to people on social media asking, who needs some promotion for their Black business. And she reached out to me, and
Wow.
we had a small conversation. And the day before I found out about her passing, I had her show, or I had her bookstore on my show. Excuse me. And I reached out to her via social media, just say, hey, here's the clip from the show or whatever. And I was just thinking that, she'll get around to seeing my message and responding, but that never happened. I'm just happy I was of the mind to talk about her story. And last Saturday, not this Saturday, the Saturday before last, me and my homeboy went to the African marketplace. Me and my family, actually. My homeboy came with us.
Okay.
And I went to All Things Literacy. We bought a couple books. You know what
Yes.
I mean? I seen her son in there. Her son played on the same basketball team as my son a while ago.
Yes.
But
Very handsome. I met him last Saturday.
yeah, but I seen just how they were still in there pushing the business, and that's what you want when you leave this earth. You want your legacy and everything that you work for to continue
Right.
to move forward, and
Right.
that's what she represented. So, I mean, rest in peace to that sister. We all should continue to be inspired by
Indeed.
her legacy.
Indeed. Dana represented what I stand for. What I stand for is service is a rent we pay for living.
Hmm.
So I understand completely when you talk about people like Dana who do it not just for the money,
Hmm.
but do it for the cause, the people. So that's all about service is a rent we pay for living. And I just want to pay homage to her,
Hmm.
and let's keep her legacy going. Let's continue to buy those books. And for people who
Yeah.
are not from Sacramento, California, watching this, you can go online, research all things literacy, right?
Yep.
Yes, all things literacy at the African market. You can order online. You can call them. They will order the book for you and get it shipped to you.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they had a nice selection. They had a nice selection. They
yeah.
had some other little trinkets in there, and just the African marketplace in general is dope. I try
It
to tell
is. It
people all
is.
the time that's the beginning of something extremely special for our city. Sometimes it gets stigmatized. I tell people I'm going to the African marketplace and they talk about some fucking, it's going to be Africans with no shoes, going to be bamboos, but they selling goat meat. I'm like, God damn, Black people in America don't even associate themselves with Africa. And I
And
think
vice versa.
that's backwards thinking. That's where this country want us to be mentally. You know what I mean? Your ass ain't from here. Everybody want to talk about, some African people were here or people were here already on the in the Americas, and some of that made true, but originally they ass came from Africa anyways, just like everybody did. You know what I mean? So
You
getting
know what, Harrison? A lot of the ignorance or the let's just say ignorance
no, it's
that I
ignorant.
hear now, and the more that I've grown, it's based on we did indeed, although we are basically descendants of African people,
Mhm.
we are very much different because we were born and raised in America, and
Yeah,
and what we call culture is very, very different.
it
So
is.
what you don't understand, right, is most people, not only Black people, what we
Hmm.
don't understand, we are afraid of. Just
Yes,
like the police are afraid of Black people, especially Black men.
you're damn
Right?
right.
They don't understand how a Black man is 6'6", the color of the color of my dress,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, and just born out the womb that way.
Hmm.
Didn't have to work out. They don't understand those NBA players, where they come from. They don't understand those scientists and things of that nature. Young
Yep.
boys that can accomplish anything if they are put in a situation where they can.
Yep.
So a lot of Black people that we're around, and I always want to make everybody know that I'm not saying all Black people. I'm talking about my experience. My
Hmm.
experience. So my experience with Black people who are ignorant in regards to Africa is because they don't know, they don't have the knowledge, and they don't understand the culture. It's a culture difference. Even though we are one, there is a big culture difference. And I know this because I grew up around people that were Africans that were born in Africa. And my mother was an African born in America. So I saw the different cultures. And that's what it is, Harrison. It's basically just lack of knowledge. That goes back to reading.
Yep, definitely. All right, so let's get into it today because Shireen, she's a big advocate for mental health in our community. So we wanted to have a quick conversation about Black people in general, how we
Indeed.
view mental health, the stigma around getting help for mental health, um, how racism and everything we deal with in this country affects how we think and affect our mental health as well. So let's get it going, Shireen. The first thing I would want to say is it's important that we begin to unpack the importance of going to some type of psychiatrist or somebody that can actually help you out. I think when we look at like poverty and when we look at being in a community with a lack of resources,
Hmm.
all of these things can be tough on your mental health. You know what I mean? Of course, there's a I think there's like a clinical, and I don't know this for sure. I'm just saying my opinion. I
Hmm.
think in some people there's like a clinical imbalance inside of their body that makes them more depressed, more so than other people. These are
Yeah.
things I had to learn because I had like a tough life growing up. Like when I was
Right.
younger, my grandma died when my dad died when I was 8. My grandma died
Sorry.
when I was 12. My mom died when I was 19. So all my adolescent years, my brothers was getting shot and going to jail and shit. So I
Right.
was struggling with what's going on in my life. Like it's so unbalanced to a degree. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
yeah, but I had to realize that and because of that, I was a little unfair. Like if somebody told me they was depressed, just on
Hmm.
some real shit, if
Yep.
somebody told me they was depressed, the first thing I'd say is you weak. Well, I'm sorry, I wouldn't say it. I'd be thinking,
Exactly.
oh, this is just a weak motherfucker. You just ain't built for life. Like buck up. I could have
Right.
been depressed when I lost my mama. You know what I mean? But
Right.
that's not the case. Everybody's not as strong. I won't call people weak, but everybody ain't as strong as other people. You know what I mean? And sometimes
That's for sure.
there can be a chemical imbalance that puts you in a state of mind where you're upset about everything or nothing seems like it can go right for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So when you talk about like chemical imbalance, indeed, that's the whole thing about mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Different chemical imbalances in one's brain and the say the word for me.
Neurology.
Neurology. The basically in our brains and the way our brains work, there's a chemical imbalance that causes too much of this and too little of that, and too much
Mm-hmm.
of this and too little of that. And those are the things that create depression and anxiety and things of that nature. It's uncontrollable. It's something that somebody was born with. Now, in regards to your story, definitely, I've talked to you before, and you already know my heart goes out to you, and you know a little bit about my story.
Mm-hmm.
Father dying when I was 10, my mother when I was 30, things of that nature. So my mother was the one that took me under. In regards to what you were saying, though, excuse me, it, what it is I believe wholeheartedly that depression and different type of mental illness is also based on your situation.
So your
It's based on
environment.
your situation. So, like, what happened to you? Who wouldn't be sad or what they call depressed about that?
Mm-hmm.
Depressed. Let's just use
Mm-hmm.
the word because Black people that we don't like, melanated people, we don't like to talk and use even the words, the verbiage. Who would not be depressed, confused, having anxiety, post traumatic stress from the death so early of their mother and their
Mm-hmm.
grandmother, right?
Yep.
So basically, that is like something natural. So not only are you going to have issues or problems dealing with the natural reaction when we talk about losing someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so that's your situation. But let's say you also had the chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
So
I
I
see
do
what you're
believe
saying.
that there's two separate things, and then people can be dealing with the same. They both. They can have
Mm-hmm.
the chemical imbalance, and the situation could be messed up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, uh, what do you think about this? Right?
Hmm.
Do you think because right now it's really popular to mention you are depressed or speak of any mental illness, like it's almost becoming taboo in our society? I like the fact that everybody's talking about it though, especially in our community, right? But
Yeah.
do you think because from my understanding, if you're depressed or if you feel like you're depressed, and I can be wrong, if you go to the doctor, can they clinically prove that you're depressed? To my understanding, they ask you questions and they get information from you. And
Right.
based on this information, they'll say, you know what? Based on what you just told me,
Uh-huh.
you're probably depressed. And I'm thinking, and of course, I don't want to shit on anybody who's actually depressed, who's actually considered harming themselves, or know somebody who's considered harming themselves.
Okay.
But do you think people sometimes use it as a way out? Meaning I'm going through said things,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that if I put this label over what's going on with me, the people around me will be more inept to be empathetic towards me. They'll be nicer to me. They'll lay off what I'm possibly supposed to be doing in my life. Like, they'll give me a pass and allow me just to do whatever I've been doing because I'm telling them I'm depressed. You know what I mean?
Indeed. There's master manipulators.
Yeah.
There's people who manipulate. There
Hmm.
indeed are people who are a certain way, but that all still comes down to mental illness. Because if you are a person that's really like a master manipulator, and you're a person that's using somebody, making them
Hmm.
feel that way, your feelings aren't correct. You're not in line. You're not aligned. We talked about balanced. You're not balanced. So therefore, there's a mental illness there. Are you a narcissist? Are you a sociopath? In regards to mental health, I do not think that anybody will want to fake wanting to kill themselves.
That's
They,
true.
they,
Yeah.
they see, the thing is, it's just too much. It's too robust. I love that word. It's too robust to say, are some people faking it, or are people not?
Hmm.
When you look at the empirical data, the numbers tell the truth. So a lot of people don't believe in God, but do you believe in science?
Hmm.
So if you just do the research, people, if you do the research, you will see that there are millions of Black women and men around the United States and abroad. So, well, let's talk about the United States, suffering from depression and some other mental illness. Let's talk about ADHD.
Hmm.
Dr. Umar, really quick, Dr. Umar Johnson talks a lot about ADHD and the over saying that people have it, the young
Hmm.
Black boys.
Hmm.
That's true.
Hmm.
We know that to be true. He's
Hmm.
backing that up on empirical data.
Hmm.
They are being young Black boys are being told that they have parents are being told that they have ADHD when they don't.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I
the
it,
so
yeah.
so so in regards to the numbers, indeed, there's just a little test that you take.
Hmm.
Basically, they'll ask you, do you start something and you can't finish it? Do you have a bunch of ideas, and are you able to complete things? Do you get easily distracted? Based on science, they have to come up with something, right?
Hmm.
That's ADHD. Is somebody with all those specs exactly an ADHD person? Maybe, maybe not. But ADHD is still real. So
And
it all depends on one's mindset. But I believe in mental illness, and I believe that people who suffer from it are really suffering from it.
and I
I
think
can never think of
I'm
anybody wanting to be depressed and having anxiety,
right.
and I can't think of anybody that would fake that.
Right.
And if they
Right.
are, then they're a sociopath, which is another form of mental illness.
Right, right. And another thing, so because we're talking about mental health in the hood, mental health in our family. Everybody, if you're just tuning into the show, I'm
Yeah.
sitting with my sister Shireen Briggs from Power Moves Presents. We're talking about mental health. We're gonna talk about relationships here in a minute. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the Melanated Fathers TV YouTube channel if you ain't did it yet. You know what I mean? Now, I think as Black folks, we can
Hmm.
cut out, like, you're right. If someone's born with deficiencies in their brain and their body, ain't shit we can do about that, right? But try to
Right.
be there and support them and help them out. However, I think as Black parents, we contribute to this a lot just by how we have children. Like, to me, raising a young person in a resource in an environment with no resources, in an environment where there's no father, in an environment where a lot of negative shit is going on outside. Like, to
Right.
me, anybody gonna end up crazy in this situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So sometimes as Black folks, I think one of the ways we can try, because again, this can be a clinical thing that we can do nothing about, but one of the things that we can try is raising our families the right way. One of the things we can try is being aware of the situations we put our kids in. If you a kid, I remember I wasn't like this, thank God. But I remember young dudes who would come to my house and eat because I would go to their refrigerator in Shireen. There would literally be nothing but baking soda and old ass milk in their refrigerator. They clothes stinking, they house all dirty, they mama down the street doing whatever the fuck. Now, to me, who won't be crazy in this situation? Who is not going to suffer mentally and feel
Right.
depressed and feel all these things? So to me, sometimes this shit can be preventable if we just try harder when it comes to our parenting. Now, of course, again, clinically, you can't stop some of this, but I think we can mitigate it, because even when you're in a position where you have more resources, i.e., money, transportation, all these
Exactly.
things, insurance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's the
Insurance,
key.
you're a little
Insurance.
more inclined to go get helped out, because people, and this is just some real shit, in my opinion, people who get free medical coverage
Mm-hmm.
abuse it. People who get free medical coverage
Yeah.
don't even see it as what it is. When you got to pay for that shit, you're using it wisely. You have a different type of understanding about it. We got people in our communities who on welfare and they get free medical coverage and they ain't even getting their kids checked out. They ain't even getting themselves checked out. You know what I mean?
Well, when you say abuse, you're saying they abuse it by not using it. I can
Yes.
agree with that.
Yes, by
I can
not
agree with that.
you, or sometimes I see people who use it for the wrong things. Like they find something small going on with their body that they can just exercise or they can just eat right. They just run into the doctor because it's there for them. Like it's not something they have to pay for. So the level of appreciation for it isn't where it should be. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'll
I
have to
see that.
ponder on that.
Yeah, I see that a lot. And just overall, mental health and all of these things is just not spoken about enough. And I think everything we've had to go through in this country, from slavery to Jim
Mm-hmm.
Crow, just
Mm-hmm.
how we're treated by people outside of our community, we've almost normalized it. Like, I'm feeling bad, but shouldn't I feel bad? Like, I'm black, I've been feeling bad. Like, we're not
Right.
even putting ourselves on a pedestal, so to speak. Like, nah, I shouldn't feel like this.
Well,
I'm a person too. You know what I mean?
I think one real big point that we have to talk about when we talk about mental illness and how it plays a part in the overall health of our families and the Black families, right?
Mm-hmm.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
We need to read that book and get more of an idea of exactly the damage that it has caused.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, truthfully, in my opinion, pretty much every Black person in America born here has some sort of a traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you have your even the ones who were born with doctors as their fathers, who were born with scientists as their fathers, who were born with NBA players. They still are going to at some point experience some type of discrimination, some type of racism, some type of hate, which that one incident could send them towards a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about okay, when we talk really quick, I wanted to read something, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that Harrison and I are not just talking about like all Black people have all the mental illness and our counterparts do not. I just want to read something really quick, and this is basically is saying that so there is considerable complexity in the association between race and mental health. The patterning of racial differences in mental health appear to vary by indicator of mental health status. For several decades, research has shown that while Blacks often have higher rates of psychological distress than whites, some studies also find that whites have elevated levels of depressive and anxiety symptoms compared to Blacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it kind of depends on the study.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing going on with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We got reputable service resources giving us some info, another rep like the CDC, and then you'll have another reputable resource giving you something that's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So mental health affects Americans in a robust way, all
Mm-hmm.
Americans.
Mm-hmm.
What we want to know is what we're talking about right now is how it affects the Black family in America.
Mm-hmm.
So when you and it affects us in a robust way, because basically young kids grow up with mental illness and disorders. They have anxiety. They didn't have enough food to eat. They were raised by a mother that they didn't have a father in the home, or they didn't have a mother in the home.
Mm-hmm.
But see, all that comes down to what, Harrison? When you first met me, institutionalized oppression,
Yes.
systemic racism. So
Mm-hmm.
when this is what you brought up, and this is why I want to bring those things up. When you said something about, I think that some people can do this and they can do that, some
Mm-hmm.
can do this and some can do that. But when you are already brought into this world to fail, when your whole entire life is, we're talking about prison to school to pipeline. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking about all these different things, the war on drugs, mass incarceration. They can just, it's not that simple. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many different variables.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody like me, I was born, my father died at 10. I had a big family. I had uncles, first cousins that are like my sisters and brothers, and uncles and aunties that were there for me. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to grow up with self-confidence, to get that degree, raise my son to be a strong black man, right? But
Mm-hmm.
some people don't have that.
That's true.
So it doesn't matter how hard they push. How can you win when the whole world is already on your shoulders and you're standing by yourself? It's
Mm-hmm.
only so much strength a black woman and black man can have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This unrealistic expectations that we're supposed to be able to just rise above systemic, institutionalized oppression and systemic racism is not realistic. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
it's delusional.
I
You
think
like that word, don't you?
yeah,
It's
I know why you said
delusional.
that. No, hey, that's true. And I think that's why I said a little earlier how we raise our families, that because we have to deal with racism anyway. Like we have to deal with the systems that have been put in place, but
Hmm.
we at times make that worse by how we choose to raise our families, the situations that
Right,
we choose to put our families in. Now, of
right.
course, things happen sometimes, right? And you can end up where you end up. But at the end of the day, we have a say so, even though racism is in place.
We
When
have
it
a
comes
say so.
when it comes to me impregnating a woman, when it comes to the woman deciding to keep the baby, like
Right.
all of these things, we need to be careful. We need to be careful. And I think sometimes, just as far as having kids are concerned, women, because she may be dealing with not having a father, she may be dealing with some neglect in her past and all these things. Sometimes having a baby is like a new start. Having a
Right.
baby is like, I finally got something that can love me. You know what I mean? And this isn't a reason to have a baby. You know what I mean? So this is just a level of dysfunction, and then you're operating at a particular level mentally. You have a baby. There's no way you can raise that child above that unless you say, "Okay, I'm fucked up. I got some stuff going on with me that I never
Indeed.
got corrected. My
Indeed.
daddy wasn't here." And you know what I mean? Like the amount of, like, just on some real shit, being around a woman who had a father in a two-parent home, a black person, a black woman who had a father in a two-parent home, opposed to being around, because let's not, just because you had a two-parent house don't mean it was going to be great. Don't mean it's
Exactly.
fully functional. They could have been
Exactly.
horrible fucking parents. So it's the two-parent home, then it's what's being put into the children inside of this two-parent home. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But being around women who didn't have, now we're not speaking in absolutes at all,
Exactly.
but
We're not. Not at all, you guys. Not at all.
being around women who
Mhm.
didn't have a father,
Right.
and me knowing the history of how much she loved this man, how
Hmm.
much she idolized him, and for whatever reason their relationship just didn't work out. That's a level of trauma. Like that's a level of
Exactly.
mental illness, damn near, because how she deals with men thereon, it's just some dysfunctional shit. Now, if you put a young woman who didn't have a father with a young dude who didn't have a father, this is like a recipe for disaster. Like, believe me, I'm telling you from
Exactly.
firsthand experience.
Exactly.
You know what I
And
mean?
and basically the issue that, basically, just let's just talk about the issues that you just said. Those type of things, they linger in black and brown people longer than they do in our counterparts, our white
Hmm.
counterparts. So the issue of being raised without a father, for young girls, and especially the young boys as well, right?
Hmm.
The trauma
Hmm.
that they have, the attachment issues that they have, right? The
Hmm.
trust issues that they have,
Hmm.
they linger on longer, evidence shows, than our white counterparts.
Hmm.
And that could be, again, because of how hard it is for us to succeed. Now, I'm not saying that black people should always use racism and oppression as reasons to not operate at their optimum to an optimum. We have to have strong will, but again, it's kind of put into you. It's fed into you. Some people don't have anything, like you talked about your friend with no food and stuff in the refrigerator but baking soda, right?
Yep.
You'll have one individual that will rise up, right, making six figures
from that situation. You mean
value man? Sorry.
No, you said someone in that situation, like my partner was in, will be able to rise up and realize his life was fucked up. But I'll be honest, Shireen, I think
some people will not.
But I think it's unrealistic to assume that a person in that situation would rise up. I think probably more than half of the people in that situation may succumb to those circumstances, or
you're right,
or even when they do flourish or become well off as far as money and finances, resources, all this shit is concerned, they're still dealing with that childhood trauma. They're still inside. There's still that little boy who didn't have a daddy, who didn't have structure. You know what I mean?
And that goes into, this another next topic. Like, there's still those issues lingering, right? It's like carrying a backpack. You walk in. Let's pretend we have handcuffs on us, right? One hand's free, the other hand's not. And on that, attached to that handcuff, is like a bunch of bags and rocks and things of that nature. Or you can pretend it's a backpack, whatever, with a bunch of baggage, right? And then you come in with the same baggage. And then, like you said, the woman comes in with all her baggage. The man comes in with his baggage. And then they try to make this family, right? Knowing that there's issues, but they don't go to get the help. You asked about why don't Black people get help or seek a professional when they know that they have these issues. Let's talk about it.
I think, and I'm happy you went there because I was just about to go here. My biggest reason I think that Black people in America, of course, we understand the racism aspect and how going to see somebody for help is kind of stigmatized and it's not something that we look at as an option. But I also think one of the biggest reasons why we don't go get help is because of religion. If you go to a religious person and you ask them, if you say, hey, I'm dealing with some stuff mentally, I got some stuff going on, they may let you speak to the counselor at church, which isn't the same. No shot at the administration inside of a church, but it's not the same as going to see a professional. And they'll tell you, pray it away. You just need to get closer with God. Right. And all this shit, when I don't even, that's incorrect. I think you need a spiritual system in like that guides you and that you understand. That's very important. But
to some people.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know.
To some people it's very important. To some people it's not.
True. But I think ultimately, if you're going through something mentally, praying and things like that can help you, but you need to go see somebody professionally. You know what I mean?
A long time ago, Harrison, my very first real paper I wrote was Addiction to Crack. That's when I knew that I wanted to become that's when I knew that writing was a gift and my voice needed to be shared with the world, right? When you know your destiny and your purpose, that's living, right?
Yes, sir.
You'll be shocked. Some people don't know theirs, but I know my purpose, right? And again, it's to serve. Service is the rent we pay for living. But when I wrote that paper a long time ago, I was like actually, I had been going back and forth to college, and I started back at around 30 when my mother passed, and I had to write this paper. I decided to write it on crack, addiction to crack. And what I wrote about the addiction to crack, you already know. I forgot what you were saying. My point. I forgot my point. But that's so funny. Okay, but anywho, in regards to the crack cocaine paper, I specifically said, and this is just me, right? Not even doing any research, just knowing, just like you. I said, while family and friends will be there as a comfort for the person addicted to crack once they recover or they're recovering, they are not equipped with the skills and the education needed to really help them further and continue to succeed.
Very true.
So that's what I was saying. Indeed, our family and friends, and even if they are licensed therapists and licensed clinical social workers and psychiatrists, there's a bias there. So even if they are educated and they did get the skills and everything they need, they still shouldn't be treating you. It's a conflict of interest, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So we talk about why we're talking about why people, especially Black people, and there's a stigma surrounding mental health in the Black community. Well, Dr. Martin Luther King reportedly had severe depression. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
So basically, during the periods of his life, and he refused psychiatric treatment. It says here, evidence shows that even when urged to seek care by his staff, he refused.
That's interesting.
It's something that's well known. As soon as you do your research, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So basically, this thing about this stigma surrounding depression runs deep, is what I just wanted to bring up. Even the
Definitely.
most strongest and powerful and influence people that influencers, they suffer from depression. So, and refused to go. Dr. Martin Luther King. This is not just Shireen Briggs with Power Moves Presents saying this. These are facts. This is research that has been done from people who were around him during his time and when he was fighting for us, right? He, even when they urged him to go get help, he refused. So it's not something that's new. There is definitely a stigma surrounding mental health in Black people, and it can be traced back to what?
Racism. Slavery, yeah. And I think damn, what was I gonna say? And I think
basically at that time, based in slavery, research shows that it was commonly thought that slaves were not sophisticated enough to develop depression, anxiety, or other mental health disorders. So from those historic misconceptions, we learn to ignore mental illness or call it terms like stress and being tired. And researcher Crawford said that.
And I think sometimes we have to look at like the medical apartheid that we've had to deal with in this country, like from the Tuskegee experiments to Black people going to the doctor and being told that they don't feel pain the same way someone white does, so they wouldn't get the right medication. So I think early on, like early 1900s and around these times, it was more of a thing where I just don't trust the doctor. I just don't trust that going to talk to this person is going to help me, because this system has shown that they're not going to help me. And I would also think you can speak to a white psychiatrist and you can get some assistance, but I would say it will be more advantageous to get someone who looks like you, just so they can have a keen understanding of kind of what you're dealing with on a psychological level, but also just on a physical level, like what you have to deal with in society. If you don't come from our communities and we sit down with you and we're telling you about these issues, sometimes you won't be as empathetic, just my opinion. You know what I mean? Indeed. But of course, I think, white psychiatrists or Russian, whatever nationality that they are, they could possibly help you out. But someone who looks like you may be a little better.
Indeed, someone who looks like you may be a little that's the key word. May be a little bit better, because we have those Black people who don't identify with themselves at all.
Very true. You can have a coon. You can have a coon sitting across from you. You know what I mean?
And they just have identity issues. But yes, going back to what you said, the 1900s, that's slavery, right? And so we were thought to not even have enough brains to say, hold on, I'm not feeling good. So based on the treatment that we received as slaves, indeed, in going into the 1950s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s and even now, of course, we don't get the help that we need. We didn't get it then. We downplayed it to stress because we were told that there's nothing wrong with that. You're just tired as a slave. So it started, the stigma surrounding going to get help and the distrust of psychiatrists and therapists all started back in slavery. It's just facts, right?
Yep, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
And then when you talk about why faith is important, why Black people tend to use faith as a replacement, I think it's about hope. I always had hope, and even I had hope. I mean, as a grown woman, I had hope that the world would be better. I had hope that unity amongst all brothers and sisters. Just like I have a lot of, I follow a lot of things that King said, but I follow a lot of things that Martin said. I follow and agree with a lot of things that a lot of people said.
Yeah.
But basically, the hope part of Martin Luther King, That was me. I did hope at a time when I was growing up that all of us could just be walking around together. I was like, why does it have to be white and black?
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
religion, and most of the hope comes from religion, because most Christians and most religions, you're just hoping because you have no visual.
Faith. You're just walking by faith, as they say.
Exactly. Faith without sight.
Yeah.
So basically, when you just like you said back in the beginning, people are running around with severe illness, mental illness that needs treatment, but they're praying it away, and they're not praying it away. But
They're
see,
not praying it away.
but
Yeah.
how can you tell somebody that believes
That's true.
that?
That makes it difficult.
And I know people that do suffer with mental illness, and they don't get any help from it. They don't do anything. They pray. They try to read different books. They try to be more self-aware. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of different reasons, but NAMI, which is a National Alliance on Mental Illness, basically says there's a connection to faith has long been recognized as having a deeply profound impact on emotional well-being. And throughout history, a connection to a higher power has been the cornerstone of the resilience and empowerment that has sustained generations of individuals from the African diaspora. So basically, trauma and health disparities faced both historically and currently by African Americans contribute to the enduring legacy of faith and spirituality. That is, we are still in the same struggle. It's not slavery, it's mental slavery. It's not slavery, it's working your ass off for less than. So if I'm working, I'm a black woman, I'm working doing the same job as a white woman, I'm getting $4 or $5 less. Right? The same trauma, the same inequality, the same me not getting a chance to have that same equity you have is the same reason why we're stuck in the same place that we were years and years and years and years ago. And it's just, what did black people have back in slavery? They didn't have anything, right? Because they weren't even taught to think that there should be a problem going on. They were taught, you're just too tired. You're stressed out.
Yeah,
what
they
did
were
they believe on? Nat Turner, what did he believe on? What did he believe in?
Religion.
Faith.
He
went around teaching.
He went around teaching, and he actually used the Bible, I would say, in a more progressive manner to a degree, because he's seen it. Okay, this book is saying we shouldn't be less than them. We shouldn't just have to deal with whatever. He went around preaching the gospel they wanted him to preach for a while, but he began to see, okay, I'm just indoctrinating my black people and keeping them asleep, so to speak.
Indeed.
I got to do something to wake them up. You know what I mean? Indeed. So to wrap up the mental health talk, we just want to talk about this real quick, y'all. And ultimately, if you dealing with something mentally where you think you can't handle it, don't be afraid to tell your mom. Don't be afraid to tell your dad. Don't be afraid to go talk to somebody. If you got a job and you got insurance, don't be afraid to go talk to somebody. You're not weak. If you say, you know what, I'm dealing with all this stuff as well as what I had to deal with in my childhood, and I don't feel strong enough to deal with it. That's completely okay. Like, you need to, because what I don't want is people in our community killing themselves. Like, all of us need to realize, if you don't take it serious when somebody in your family say something is wrong with them, and then they ultimately hurt themselves, you're gonna feel like shit, and you won't be able to come back from that. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to let's just take it serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you feel some type of way, especially now during COVID, my people and all people, because as a social worker, that's another aspect of who Shireen is. I basically believe in justice for all people. And
Me too.
At the end of the day, I place high emphasis on my own people, right?
Yeah, me too.
But if you're feeling some type of way right now, if you feel like you shouldn't be, you don't want to be here, and you're better off, and your friends and family are better off without you. If you feel like you're not wanting to be here, I'm sure it's going to be kind of clear. I personally have never felt that way. But if you feel like you're better off dead and people are better off without you, please reach out to get help. One thing that I did is I got my bachelor's degree a long time ago online. And at that time, still to this day, I'm going to have my own, I'm working towards having my own online therapy business and practice. And and basically what you can do now is you can get help online. and you can
That's
get help
true.
on the telephone. So a lot of
Discreetly.
people, one of the big reasons why Black folk don't go, they didn't want to be face to face with. I don't want to go sit in front of this person's face. Well, my
Yeah.
people, you can go online now. You can schedule over the phone, and your insurance will cover that. Even if you're not paying for it, you have access to getting mental help. Do not suffer in silence, my people, because it will not only kill you mentally, it will kill you physically. You will develop high blood pressure, diabetes, and and other illnesses. And we don't want that for our people.
Definitely.
Let's continue to rise. Let's continue to be self-aware, and let's promote mental health wellness. Let's promote it. Let's promote it. All right.
Definitely. All right. So let's have a little fun, man. Let's get into it now, Shireen. Let's get into it, because we was talking before the show. Now, do women, because you want to put men in this shit too. You want to include me in it, but I was just talking about women.
Okay, let's talk about women.
Are women's expectations too high when it comes to dating? I say not yeah, but hell yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion, hell yeah, because we got to talk about the elephant in the room. We was talking a little bit about the brother Kevin Samuels, which I like the brother. You know what I mean?
I don't. You like him? I don't. Ebony Ivory.
And what he, to me, because his show has gotten a lot of fanfare, a lot of people have opinions about what he's saying. At the end of the day, the bottom line is, though, he's one man with an opinion. You shouldn't be riding with one person say anyway like that. Like, no person I talk to, everything they say I fuck with. Some of it I do, some of it I don't. But the point is, what I've noticed, though, and I think what a show like his points out, is a lot of women in America, because we got to keep it real. On his particular show, women call into the show. He not just sitting there talking in front of a computer, just chopping, just chopping women down. No, they call in. He asks them questions, and they reveal they have no idea what the fuck they want. They are literally clueless when it comes. So I think that ties into
paid actors that he had, those paid people that he has calling in. Okay, go ahead, finish. I'll let you finish.
Yo ass, Shireen. So these women call. Listen, no, these women, and I can tell, like, listening to the women, they are seeking something. Like, they ain't calling like on no. Some of them, they ain't calling on no bullshit. They trying to figure it out, and they be lost as hell. Their expectation. They're trying to figure out their love life. Why
they were trying to figure out how to get a so-called high value man that makes about $300,000-$400,000. That's what this show is about. Right?
Well, kinda. That's his breakdown in his ideology of a high value man isn't mine. Like, that's one of the things I don't agree with him. A high value man to me is a man that takes care of his family, a man that does his best to provide for his family, a man that tries his best to be a dedicated father, a man that dedicates himself to his community in some capacity. You know what I mean? But money is a part of that.
Let me stop you. The person that you follow and the person that you rock with, he does not consider that you a high value man. So just know, I know you don't give a shit. You're rolling with him, though. You're rolling with him. So just know that
I'm rolling with some of his ways of thinking.
Know, all I want you to know is that the man that you agree with some of all this man
say it
does not consider you a high value man, and simply because of the okay, I'm not even sure about how much money you make, so I may be way off guard on this.
Well, no, I don't make when I watch.
You make $400,000?
I don't.
Kevin Samuels does not consider you a high value man. He does not care that you help the community. He does not care that you want to empower young Black people so that they can rise up and be the change that we need. Yeah. He does not care.
Well, see, here's the thing
about the men that make $300, $400, $500, $600 millions of dollars. Those are high value men, and he doesn't care what they look like, what religion, what race, nothing. Those are high. If they're fat, overweight, ugly.
Here's the thing about conversation, though. Here's the thing about, like, knowing who you are. I personally don't give a shit about what that man thinks about me. Like, if he was to say, I don't care about that. What I focus on is the women, because the women call in And what they expect they should have in their lives do not reflect what they've put into their lives. And I've been watching, I've only watched like 4 shows, like 30
Three.
minutes of 4 shows.
Three. You told me 3.
3.
Don't add 1.
All right, 3.
You
All right.
watched
All right.
3.
But on these shows, he starts off having a subtle conversation about who they are and what they want. And quickly, he realizes their expectations don't match who they are as people. And that's fine, but somebody got to be able to tell you that. You know what I mean?
Not
And
him,
also,
though.
I mean, they're called now again. If he was just on his show talking shit, that's one thing. If you call in, you want that work.
Let's
If you
do
call
this.
into my show and you know what I do, you want that work, you want some help, you want something. You know what I mean? And women in our society aren't fashioned. This is my opinion. I don't give a fuck if y'all come for me. They aren't fashioned to be responsible. They are damsels in distress to a degree. Well, they mama gonna take care of them. The welfare system gonna take care of them. They expect the man to take. Women can walk around here with 3 kids by 3 different niggas and nobody pull them to the side like, girl, what the fuck are you doing? This is your fault. But you know what everybody gonna say? Where your baby daddy at? He ain't nothing. Why he ain't here? Why he ain't pay his child support this month? Now, all this is true. You got
Okay, I was gonna say.
No. If
Okay.
you got a baby daddy who don't help you, that nigga ain't shit. As much as I
Okay.
had to struggle financially with my kids and chose not to just walk away, which a lot of men do, fuck that. You ain't shit if that's how you proceed with being a parent. But we need to be honest. And when I talk to women, most of the women in my life, especially the ones I've been intimate with, they have a unrealistic reality. Like their perception of what happened in the past be all goddamn cloudy. It be like some shit they made up in their head. And I'm like, all right, this is a person who hasn't learned how to be accountable for their actions. So I think sometimes, not all the time, women are single because they don't really know what they want. It could be a dude that love your dirty draws that's been trying to get with you for years and you throwing him to the side because he got a little stomach or because he don't make a lot of money or he don't meet some little stupid ass check box you didn't create it for yourself. But then we turn the camera on you. You didn't go to college. You making $14 an hour.
College.
Well, no, what I mean is you want a man that has all these things, but you haven't accumulated nothing yourself. So are you worth that? Is it because your looks? Because a real man gonna look past your looks. Fuck all the makeup and the fake hair and all that shit. Because you mentioned when we was texting, you mentioned the Instagram models, and that's a certain type of dude who go. But here's the thing about men.
No, it's not.
It's a certain type of dude.
The dudes that you touched on a lot of different points, a lot of different things. You said a lot. Now, one of the first things you said is you talked about the women that you met having 3 kids by 3 different baby mamas.
That was an example.
3 different baby daddies and expecting. What did you say? What was your problem with them?
My problem is they're not accountable for how they got in that situation.
Okay, but then you said that they want to place blame and say, well, where's the father at? Where is he at? And that is true, right? So the problem is, what we talked about before, is not taking enough time to find out about people's families, their backgrounds, their mental, their credit score. I used to think that stuff didn't make any sense, but it does. So you, unfortunately, and I hate using that word, you chose the wrong women. Okay, you chose the wrong women. You were young. You didn't do the research. You didn't take time, and I don't even know if you really planned the babies. Right? You could have just been having sex, and it happened.
That's what happened.
All right. So then, when you talk about a woman, how old is the first? You were like 18,
17, about to be 18. I had 2 kids.
How old was the baby? That's very young, Harrison.
That's too young.
How old was the mother?
She was my age. She was 17, about to be 18 as well.
So I hear what you're saying. But we're talking about a 17-year-old girl.
Well, here.
Hold on. A 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Who had the child? Who had the child the majority of the time? At that time. I'm not talking about now.
The person who had time. The person who chose to have the baby.
Let me get my question now. Let me move
the person who chose to have the baby is the one who had it all the time. I never had an abortion. I never had no goddamn abortion. I never had no baby.
Harrison's not letting me speak. Hold on. Who? Let me get this mic adjusted. Is it plugged in? Who had? And Harrison knows the inside joke on that. Who had the baby the majority of the time? I'm not talking about if she had help. Who had the baby the majority of the time?
The woman did, Shireen.
Okay, she was 17 years old. Of course, when she more than likely she's not going to know exactly what's going on and be held accountable or understand that she has a part to play in it. It's going to take some time. And guess how long that time can take? Because we just talked about mental illness and different things, right? It lingers longer in Black women and men. So she may not figure that out until she's 48 years old, just like me. And I'm proud of it. Give thanks that today is yet another miracle. And I pray that y'all out there make it to 48.
Boo-hoo, God damn it. I had to figure that shit out immediately. When I was 18, my feet was held to the fire. Nobody fucking, but I was expected to. Nobody told me, oh, it's okay. See, that's that bullshit you don't see. That's that woman bullshit right there.
You made it through, but you don't have it all figured out. You didn't figure it out.
But I was expected to, Shireen. At 18, the people around me, and this is not a shot.
We don't have sympathy for men, and Black women don't have sympathy for men. That's true.
So no, that's what I'm saying though.
A man has to work. Some people that believe in the Bible says a man that does not work does not eat.
A woman who don't work don't eat.
Exactly.
No, that's not exactly. You didn't say that. See,
no, I'm saying why sometimes women are so hard on men. Women will have a man child, and that man child ain't doing nothing.
They chose the man child.
Will be out of the house.
They chose a man child.
No, I mean,
open their legs. Unless you was raised.
I'm talking about a real kid, a man child, a boy. Okay. And when that boy gets 18 or 19, 20, 21, if that man makes mistakes and not working, they're like, that's a grown man. He needs to do what he got to do. Then they'll have a girl and at the same age, making the same mistakes, giving them money, helping them out. But we, in our society, we believe that the man should figure it out. And I understand where you're coming from with that. And a lot of that goes back to religion. A man that, it says in the Bible, a man that does not work does not eat. So that's how a lot of our Black parents raised us from generations in the past, from slavery. So that's why it is the way it is today. And you can't expect me or any other Black woman to just change overnight when this has been instilled in us generation after generation after generation after generation.
Well, hey, I'm an ex-slave too. I was a buck. They made me breed and have hella kids. They used to cut off my balls in front of my woman to dehumanize me. Can I use that shit now? Can I say, hey, look, I know I got these 3 kids, but I'm a buck at heart. I'm actually a buck. This is what I do. I just plant my seed. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think we should give an excuse to either, but I'm only speaking about, and this ain't just my baby mamas. When I talk to women, it's weird. I'm like, because you said at 17, 18, she was young. She didn't know. Both of us was.
Both of you were. I agree. Both
However,
of you were. But she had to take on the majority of the being a mother.
That's what you get when you have a baby. When 2 people have a baby, especially 2 unmarried people, that's why the woman should say, wait a minute, should I do this shit?
No.
Because it's going to be, no. It's going to be on me. If I had a daughter, I would tell her, don't you open your legs for a nigga you don't want to be involved with for life. Now,
did she have that?
Huh?
Did she have a dad?
In my situation, no.
Okay, so you're expecting.
I didn't either, Shireen.
Okay, but see, we're not talking about you right now. You want to talk about women.
Okay,
you
go ahead.
You want to talk about women.
Okay,
so what I'm trying to get you to understand is, look at this. I want you to moving forward. Look at your baby's mothers, right? The mothers of your children, your legacy, as not just baby mamas. Look at them as Christine. Look at them as Africa. If her name is Africa, I'm just giving an example. Trying to figure out what her background is, ecological factors, environmental factors, parents in the home, not in the home. Was she abused? Was she molested? So then you can try to understand, because guess what? You need healing. Our Black men need to heal, and our Black women need to heal. And that's what it's about. And that's where we're going to come up with something. When Kevin, what's his name again? I don't even know his name.
Kevin Samuels. Go ahead.
That person. The reason why I don't agree with a lot of the things that Kevin Samuels talks about is because of the way he's delivering it. You have a clip, but I don't know if that clip is showing him degrading the Black woman. If you have a clip of just him saying, yes, the Black woman that is on welfare with 5 different baby daddies and 5 kids and expecting for a man to come rescue her is delusional. Of course, that doesn't make sense. But
Wait a minute.
he,
Wait a minute.
but
Shireen.
the message that he sends is that a woman a certain age, over a certain weight, and with 2 kids has gone down. And that's just not true in all situations. And the way that he's making it sound like it is the problem. You know how me and you don't like to say, oh, a black woman would never do this, or a black man would never do this. He's not saying that. He's saying if you are a black woman or a woman, it's black women. That's who his audience is. If you're a black woman, I think it's you're over 30 something, you have 2 kids, then you are dropped down to a 6. First of all, I'm not on any number scale.
I don't like the number shit either. But here's
I'm not a horse.
I don't like the number shit either. But here's the thing. Here, let's look at
doing when Kevin said, okay, I'll let you finish, but I want to know, I want to talk about, do you know who Kevin Samuels is?
Okay, we talked about this. Here, let me say this. I don't fuck with the number shit. She's a 6, she's an 8, she's a 10. But let's just say I'm gonna put myself in a position. That's what he does. So you can't support him. See, I don't care. See, that's the thing. I don't even. So what if that's his perspective? That's
right, but he has 100 million followers. He has 1 million followers.
Let me tell you why. Let's say I'm a man, right? And my whole life, I'm 32, right? 35, right? My whole life, I went to school 6 years in college. After college, I'm making $300,000 a year. This is example. Oh, wow. This is an example, right? I'm making $300,000 a year, right? Okay. I meet a woman that dropped out of high school, that got 2 kids by 2 different dudes. She's 38 years old. I may not want her. Now, how he's saying it, you can always say, well, maybe you can say something different. But the point is, if I've reached a certain level in my life, if you not there too, I ain't fucking with you. The examples he give is contrary. I mean, you could use a whole lot of different examples, but the examples he's using, if I bust my ass to get to a certain place in life, and you didn't, we're not evenly yoked.
Okay, that's
kind of what he's saying.
Basically, what you're saying then is pretty much all these NBA and NFL players. We would not have wives of NFL players and NBA players if we were to believe what Kevin Samuels is saying.
What you mean?
Because mostly a large majority that I see with my own eyes, their wives. You're going to name somebody. Oh, well, so and so met. She graduated college.
Yeah.
Most of the women are people that look like Instagram models with fake.
You know why?
Yep. Wives, girlfriends, significant others, and they're nowhere near on their level.
You know why?
We're not talking about LeBron James, because now that's my dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Kobe's gone, now I can affectionately say, wow, the man's amazing, right? But because I just refused to do so when Kobe was here. R.I.P. to Kobe. But he married his high school sweetheart, right? He and my other dude from the Warriors. Those are rare people. Most of these NBA players, and if they don't marry somebody just like them, like a Kardashian or somebody, are finding women who have no amount of money compared to what they have. So
the difference?
Whole delusional, like he likes to use, thing that a man with money is not going to date somebody with no.
Let me tell you the difference.
Than him. It's not realistic. It's delusional.
Let me tell you the difference, Shireen. Men are not delusional. We know this bitch ain't smart. We know she didn't graduate. We don't want her for that. Once I get a certain listen. Once I get a certain amount of money, certain men say, I don't want all that. I want somebody who's gonna do what the hell I say, who look like a trophy. You see, I'm paying all these bills. Shut up, follow behind me, and the woman is gonna do it. So that's a different type of dude. So men, we know exactly what the hell we be doing most of the time. Now, you got dudes who become NBA players, and these niggas ain't got no swag. They don't look good. They ain't never been able to get women. And now the baddest bitch in the city is trying to give him some pussy. What is he going to do? Mm-hmm. You a man. You going in society, we're conditioned to chase women. If I want a woman, I got to find her. I got to talk to her. I got to court her. If you're in a position where your presence brings you all the women you want, that's a difficult position to be in. But if he did say, I make $1 million a year, my woman got to make close to this, we can't be mad at the brother.
It'll be a lot. I wouldn't be mad at him. But what I'm saying is, Kevin Samuels is basically the way the words that are coming out of his mouth and the advice that he's giving is delusional, and that's why he uses that word. He knows he's delusional. Again, anybody that's not for the unity and empowerment and uplifting of Black people. Again, it's all about your delivery. You and I talked. We talked about, okay, we didn't talk about this specifically, but you wouldn't want your girl, your young 21-year-old woman, just because the man makes $300,000 and up, to date him if he's 40-something years old. This man is actually kind of saying, young women, you should get with these men. They make more money. Get with them. Where's the real substance?
Well, I don't agree with that per se.
He's only talking about money. He's telling, his whole thing is to tell a woman how to get a so-called high value man. And what's crazy to me is that high value men, does he talk about that high value men having kids? Because I know people that make $200,000 plus a year, but they got kids and child support and spousal support, and they're in debt, and something happened here, and their house got gone here. So by the time all their money is gone, they don't have nothing.
That's true. But when you go to the
value comes from the heart.
True.
That's what he should be pushing.
With all that.
Value comes from the soul.
So again, some of the things he say, I disagree with, and maybe I can find the clip.
Yeah, let's find the clip.
Well, no, what I mean is of him talking to a woman and her expectations matching what she had to offer. When the women he be talking to, their expectations don't match what they want. He asks them, what do you want? What are you looking for? And she'll say out of her mouth, a man that make a lot of money is going to take care of me and my family, ain't going to do all this and all that. And then you say, okay, where do you work? Well, I just lost my job like 6 months ago. That's disillusioned. That's why he uses that word, because the women that call in,
because that word is something that Black people are now following, and it's a word that, you know, it's something that's delusional.
Certain women,
delusional. It's a word.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's right for a woman who's on welfare, who's taking night classes, who got 2 kids,
I can't with you,
who live with her mama, to want a dude that's a lawyer? Is that practical?
A lawyer?
Why the fuck would a lawyer mess with her, Shireen?
Because just
come on now, Shireen, come on now. Because if you live with your mama and you ain't been working and you on welfare, that's a mentality. Listen, that's a mentality. That's your because you can find, this is the shit. You can find a woman with 2 kids, maybe living with her mom, but about to find her own spot, but her mind is right. See, her mind is right. She on the right path. But
that's my example.
That's rare.
Kevin Samuels.
Most people in the position they're in, they put themselves in that position based on their mentality.
Play this clip real quick.
No,
it's only like 5 minutes. Play the clip.
You wanted the high value clip, you mean?
Yeah, the high value clip. Just so I can understand. I want to, because I don't watch him. I just know.
Whoa. No, so you have some harsh criticisms here.
No. You're trying to get me back.
Somebody that you don't fuck with like that, Shireen.
You're trying to get me back. I researched this man for about 4 days. I researched the man. And the man, at the end of the day, is putting down Black women, and you can't see that.
All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna play the high value man clip, just a little bit of.
Well, won't you play one with him disrespecting the Black woman so you can see what I'm talking about?
Okay, Shireen, I see him talking to the Black. Okay, here, let me see.
You're gonna play something that where he?
No, I'm not. Here. Let me find.
I'm not talking about what he's saying. It's his delivery.
Okay, hold on one second.
Okay, and while you're looking at that, Harrison, one of my problems is the fact that we as Black people have been stagnant. There's a lot of us, a percentage of us that are moving and grooving and doing our thing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're stagnant, right?
Yeah.
So why would he want to keep creating generation after generation after generation that looks down on women, that says, you know what, you don't deserve to be with somebody that makes $300,000 is not a lot of money for the average person.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's more
for the average white person.
I think it's more of a mentality. It's more of a person who hasn't worked hard in life. They have a particular mentality. But here, I'm gonna play this clip. Okay. I'm not sure if this is going to prove your point.
Black women, read this. Dear Black women, you are loved. Black men, don't let Kevin Samuels make you think you're not.
Hold on one second. Hold on.
You
one
are
second.
worthy. You can have anything that you wish for. Just change your mindset.
As long as you work for it, God damn it. As long as you work for it and put yourself in the right position. Yes, you can. Hold on one second.
But Harrison, there's a lot of women that just want to be housewives. And those are the high value men he's talking about.
Then you're going into my point now. Exactly. So that's why you have women who are in positions where men is just taking care of them and they get talked to like shit and they get made to do whatever. That's your choice. But hold on one second. I'm not sure what this clip is going to reveal.
No, it's going to be something bad unless you just clearly pick something.
I didn't. I just picked one, Sheree. Hold on.
Okay, let's see. Can you blow it up?
Hold on.
Oh, that's an hour.
No, I'm not gonna play the whole hour.
Fast forward.
It's not gonna take that long.
I know. Just get to where you see a girl coming in. Okay, let's see.
Y'all can get on here and play bullshit with me. You can't put out there and say I can do it if I wanted to.
No, rewind it just a little bit.
Then it's gonna be bad.
Do you want anybody talking like this to your daughter?
Let's listen.
We are.
Women be full of shit though, Shireen. And somebody need to tell them. Somebody need to tell them sometime when our society coddles women. Hold on here. We'll talk.
You work at the post office. But now all of a sudden after you retire, you're gonna all of a sudden become independently wealthy and go to Paris.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I am well. What do you got for me? Is it over?
Is it over? I would not say so. Just because I think there's just too many people in the world for it to be over. You know what I mean?
What do you mean too many people in the world?
I mean the opportunities to meet someone new, or someone who's
Where do you live?
I live in Philly.
Most people don't live in Philly.
They don't. That's very true. Slim pickings here, I'd say. But in comparison, if I travel, if I really want to meet somebody.
When's the last time you've been out of the country?
2013, I think.
Where'd you go?
I went to Spain.
Right,
I ran that.
So basically, it's 2000.
I was really
2021.
I was like too young today.
You're 2021 right now. And did you work? You said you were with your family when you were in Spain?
No, I went with this basketball group. I was literally there for 2 weeks to run basketball camps. It was not a trip.
You didn't pay for it.
No, I didn't pay. I did pay for it actually. Yeah, of course.
How much did it cost you?
But so I was 18 when I went. So the intention was never to go there to date or meet anybody.
How much did it cost you?
It costs like $2,000.
You ain't been out of the country.
To stay there for 2 weeks. But again, it was my mom paid for it.
So, no, see, what I'm trying to show is how unrealistic what you just said.
Hold on, pause real quick, Sheree. So here, I think you mentioned, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Tone and delivery is everything, right?
Do you see this?
No. Do you hear this man's tone? He's calm. He's calm. He's calm, Shereen. He's calm asking questions. Watch.
He's calm. He has his hand. Look at his body language. That's even more powerful than tone.
He relaxed. Like on some real shit to me, Kevin Samuels is a player ass nigga. If you look at his setup,
a player ass nigga. He's a fool. He's an idiot.
If you look at his setup, if you look at how he beat to me,
he's a pimp. He's a genius. He's pimping his own people. You're right. He's smart as hell.
This ain't pimp. Okay, here let's
doing what he got to do to make money.
Let's listen a little more, Shereen. Let's listen a little more.
I don't think it's over because of how big the world is, and you end up being out of the country on your own money.
Right, but if I wanted to, I could. Right, I was too young back then. If I wanted to now, of course I could.
Could you?
Yeah, I could.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a leasing consultant.
And in Philly, how much you making annually?
Enough to shop I wanted, but I think
I don't know what that means. See, y'all can get on here and play bullshit with me. You can't put out there and say I can do it if I wanted to. When I ask about it, you'll get vague. This is gonna be bad.
I just don't want to put my financial situation out there.
Well, then I'm gonna call bullshit because then if you could, you would.
Well, I don't feel the need to
Alright,
because
Okay,
I
would that be a
feel,
leasing consultant in apartments? Out?
yeah,
All right, you ain't rich.
definitely not rich.
You're middle class. That's the point. See,
Yeah,
this is
but
why
also,
this is why things go bad because there was no reason to come in here and make this situation anything other than a pleasant conversation. You start off
what's
with
not present about it?
well, when you start becoming evasive. When you say,
Oh,
I'll tell you what was unpleasant because this is, I don't think sometimes like black people realize how shitty you're being.
You can end it right there. You can end it right there, Harrison. You can end it right there. This man has cussed at this young lady. He told her she was full of shit. He's doing all like this. He's dismissive. He's a player. And
She called.
He's playing.
She called. She knows who. See, this is the thing about.
Exactly.
We need to stop. Well, here's the thing. We need to stop idolizing people.
Give me
I don't blame him.
No.
I blame people following him. Don't idolize no man. You idolize a man, you bound to fail, right?
I blame them both.
Huh?
I blame them both. I'm not going to allow him to not take any of this heat. Kevin Samuels was a man that dressed men. Nothing's wrong with that. I'm into fashion.
Okay.
People in Ghana and Africa, Nigeria, they are so into fashion, these men. So nothing.
Well, so you mentioned, okay, you're mentioning his previous employer the same way he mentions the same way he comes to a conclusion by asking what a woman do for a living, what she used to do for. That's the same thing you're doing to him right now. Well, he used to just be an image consultant. Go ahead.
You are so blinded by this man.
I'm not. I just know how full of shit women are.
Was that a conversation to you?
Well, that was just a piece. That was just a small piece.
If you go into watching that clip, that little clip, trying to find out what he didn't do, you're gonna miss it. He was rude from the very beginning. You can talk nice to me, but if you say I'm full of shit, it don't make it no better. You do not talk to me like that, or none of my young queens like that. And for
I think it's a matter.
This girl, he said this middle class girl who owns her own business, who went to Spain on with her basketball team, he was already shutting her down. Like, no, he wouldn't even let her speak. Did we watch the same clip?
We did. You know what I think it's about?
He's dismissive. He's disrespectful, and he's doing this
maybe
for
a little bit. Maybe a little bit. But listen,
he does not care about anything that he's talking about. It's all for money.
I think he's frustrated.
I think he's frustrated all day. He could be frustrated all day, but
because he talks to a lot of women.
Another generation that's going to hate and despise black women. That's going to be judging women on numbers. You think that you really? I can't. See, what it is me and you are adults. I'm worried about the youth. I'm worried about the youth, people that are not even born.
Well, we should be raising our kids in controlling what they watch and what they consume. So he's not going to affect my son. If I had a daughter, he wouldn't be affecting my daughter because I'm in their life.
And your son's one of the lucky ones that has a father in the home.
Well,
the man does not add value. He keeps talking about how a woman can get high value men. He adds no value to the black community. A man with no real history. This man so-called has a degree in engineering. Never.
You know how many, Shireen, you know how many pastors used to be fucking pimps? Can I say my pastor's great, but y'all know what he used to do?
I understand that. And pastors, their delivery is all different. But this man is judging women by numbers. He was very dismissive and rude to that young, beautiful black queen. And she's calling in because she probably doesn't have a real father figure to answer these questions.
And her father would probably talk to her the same way, Shireen.
No, he wouldn't.
Now he would. Girl, what you doing? Girl, what you expect out of her?
No, fathers spoil their daughters so much, and they would never talk. They would never
real man. And sometimes when women, it is some real shit too. Sometimes when women hear a masculine black man come at shit,
that man is masculine to you. You are definitely blinded.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing.
Let me get my charger. I know this is very unprofessional. 1 second. The thing's about to die.
Go ahead.
Talk to the people.
You're damn right I am. So here's the thing, family. Sometimes when women hear a man talk aggressively or talk like with authority, you say fuck what he's saying. Like fuck the message, and you just kind of focus on what he's saying. The majority of the women, because that clip, I mean, he did a little bit in that clip, whatever. But ultimately, I think that's a frustration from talking to all these women all day, and women constantly being disillusioned about who they are, what they're actually expecting out of life. And a lot of women probably never heard that shit before because they used to men trying to fuck them all the time. So they ain't getting no real shit out of men. That's not his problem. You know what I mean? Now, of course, does he say some things I disagree with? Every human, every man that I listen to say some shit that I disagree with. We shouldn't be following no man anyway. So that's society's problem. He's a product of society. That's all he's a product of. It's society. Women, whether they admit it or not, a lot of women want to be taken care of. A lot of women want that man to pull up in the Benz, a nice tall man pull up in the Benz with hella money and sweep them off their feet. You mentioned earlier when we was talking about some Cinderella shit. I told you Cinderella wasn't true. You said, yeah, it is.
No,
it is. That shit ain't real.
When I use the Cinderella reference, I was saying that there are men that will find someone that's lower in status than them and sweep them off their feet and marry them, just like I talked about.
Treat them like slaves, damn near. They sure will, and treat them like slaves. And she bet not get out of line. Them eggs better be fucking over easy, or else.
There are some people. There are some men like that,
and she got to look like a princess going to the grocery store at 9:20 a.m. or he gonna be like, go back in the house and do. So you're accepting that.
They're probably gonna be like R. Kelly and one of them where they can't wear cute
that's
stuff
different.
around men.
That's different.
R. Kelly didn't want none of his women or his men.
That's different. That's different. R. Kelly
is saying he was rich, taking care of the people, and he did not want them to be cute like no princess. He wanted them to wear sweatsuits and keep their heads down.
That brother
to each his own. If somebody wants to follow Kevin Samuels, but when we talk about, we all have our own opinion. I don't like his delivery. I don't think that he's making I just feel like he's not making the impact. Our mindsets are different. Kevin Samuels is a genius.
Did he ever say he
found out a way to make money, but he does not truly care.
Did he ever say he came to empower the Black community? Has that ever been his message, that I'm here to empower the Black man and woman?
I've never heard him say anything like that.
Why we expected him to? Why we expected him to? He doing what he want to do. He's an ex-image consultant. He wants to give women advice. If you can choose to listen to that shit or cut it off.
It's entertainment.
Some of it's true. I'm sorry.
Some of it's true and some of it's not true.
Of course, that's everybody though.
So
you're admitting. Wait, so you're admitting some of the shit he says is true, right?
Based on, Kevin. Let me tell you like this. Kevin Samuels is entertaining. That's all I can say. If I were to really watch him, but when I say entertaining, not for me, but I think that a lot of inadequate men find him very. And I'm not saying you. I think this is just my opinion. We've been talking about our own opinion.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of inadequate men, a lot of men that need to, have a woman being their slave and doing all this stuff for them to make them feel adequate, agree with Kevin Samuels. If I were to do an empirical data study, a lot of the men following him, they probably didn't get past high school, and nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that.
Come on, Shereen.
I need you to understand. They probably were high school dropouts.
Wait, you're calling them so only stupid niggas follow them, is what you're saying. That's what you're saying, basically, right?
I'm saying that they probably either barely graduated high school or they dropped out in 8th grade. And that's the thing that kills me. The men that follow him are not even high value men.
Well,
based on what his definition is.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the problem.
The men that follow him are not even high value men.
I think if you're a Black man,
by the people that call in, there are some men that call in sometimes, Harrison.
Okay.
And they're not high value men. So this is entertainment at the expense of the Black woman. It is what it is. And I don't have any problem with you agreeing with him.
If they stop calling tomorrow,
a spade. Call a spade a spade.
If they stop calling tomorrow, Serene, he wouldn't have a show.
Black women. He's paying them. Half of them are being paid.
Okay, you got to prove that. You can't say that without any proof. Women
now I got to bring the empirical data.
You got to bring the goddamn receipts. You're damn right. These women are calling. Hey, look, if Black women got together,
they are calling.
If we were unified as a people, they would get together and say, hey, let's stop calling this show. Boom, show's over. right?
Right. Like they would
Show's over, but they call in.
they
So
would
why are
do
they
what
calling
they
in?
do like to do to the baby when he said something about
Yeah,
everybody.
the homosexual shit. Yeah.
They would
But
cancel him. You're right.
this man isn't getting canceled because there's a nugget of
No,
truth
no, he's
in
not
what
getting
he speaks.
canceled because he's a YouTuber, and
YouTubers
YouTubers
get canceled.
they don't need the type of fans and stuff that the baby or somebody like that needs.
They get canceled though. You can still
People don't they get canceled, but it's not going to make a big impact. His man has 1 million followers. If half of his followers stop following him, he's still going to make money because they're still paying. He's already gotten the money and he's already invested the money and making his money make money by itself. The man's
and I think
already
a lot of those
rich.
subscribers are women.
He's already rich. I am, you know what? I'm not going to even waste my time on it because I was going to say I would really research all of that.
Uh-huh.
But you're right. And a lot of those women need to be healed. And a lot of the men that follow him need to be healed. Kevin Samuels is a genius. He was able to come up with a way to give advice and get people who are not educated. Some are not, but most of them that I saw call in, like you said.
You talking about women too, right?
I'm talking about nothing but women right now. Most of the ones that call in, like you said, have no education, got 3 or 4, that got 3 kids by 3 baby daddies, which is nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But they indeed are. I don't want to use. See, that's the thing. I talked about this earlier in a previous show that we did. Terms. See, the thing is, terms are important. He doesn't have to use words like that.
Like what?
Delusional.
What do you think delusional is? I don't have it pulled up here, but
you can just say that basically, ma'am, you may not even be in the same proximity as the men that you're looking for.
That's true.
You don't have
if you live in bumfuck Iowa,
right,
and you're making certain complaints, that's what he talks about. He talks about the population of black people in particular cities. If you're in a particular city, he'll tell you you're probably not finding nobody. You probably need to move. Now, maybe the woman doesn't have the means to move, but maybe he has a different mentality. Maybe he's traveled the whole country and seen a whole bunch of shit. Maybe he got a whole bunch of bread so he know how it works. He's speaking from a particular mentality, and as black people, if you can't notice that, then that's your fault. Like, he's using, to a degree, Eurocentric standards of beauty and quality, but we gotta be smart enough to know that. And
I told you, I said that.
But we got to be smart enough to know that and take it as like a tongue-in-cheek comment, opposed to something to live by. I listen to it. Okay, some of that's cool, some of that wasn't. That shit was funny. I turn it off and keep on going. Why are we putting so much stock into what this one man is saying? That speaks to kind of the illness in our community where there's no unity, and
that's the first thing.
Sometimes women don't. That's the first.
Okay. No. In the last like 15, 20 minutes, since we've been talking about Kevin Samuels, I 100% agree with what you just said. Say it again for me. That speaks to the
dysfunction in our community. I get it.
Exactly.
But also so I go community.
Exactly.
Then I go the dysfunction with the black woman, where her expectations and who she thinks she is compared to other people in society, and how she feels she can run rampant, meaning she doesn't have to be accountable. She can have kids. She can not have a job and still think she can have a. Now, if a dude, let me give you an example real quick. If a dude works at Taco Bell, he drives a 92 Honda, $12 an hour. He ain't even going to look at no lawyer woman. He going to look at the woman like that and okay, I can't get her. You know why?
I agree.
He's not disillusioned. He know a woman like that may want a man on her level. Why women don't think that, Shireen? Why women don't think like that? Maybe they're disillusioned. You think?
I don't. That's a good example. That's a very good example.
It's true. We know we ain't shit. We know our status in this country. We know who we are, and we shoot for who we think we can get. You can have.
But do you think that that's cool that our young people, like our young men, think that they got to have all this money just to get a nice looking young woman?
Well, no, you don't got to have a lot of money. You just got to have something going for yourself. If you work at Taco Bell and you're 27 driving a 92 Honda, something's wrong. No. If you're 27 years old working as a cashier at Taco Bell, you know inside you ain't working hard. Now, you could be working at Taco Bell, but at night going to school to be a lawyer. You could be working at Taco Bell, but starting a business on the side. Then you're going to look at that woman like, no, I can get her. I'm doing what I got to do. See?
So we
it's
agree.
internal.
So we agree that a young woman, 27, working at Taco Bell, going to school at night to be a lawyer, working at night at Taco Bell, going to school in the day to be a lawyer, that she indeed can attract a man making $300,000 or more, and vice versa. We can agree with that,
she
right?
Can, but she has to be realistic about it. Like, I know I'm headed to a place that I deserve that, but if that man don't want me, or if that man is indifferent, I'm cool with it. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not gonna feel hurt by it. When men, we used to getting rejected. We used to coming at a woman and the woman saying, no, I got a man, no, leave me alone, all that. We used to getting rejected. That shit don't bother us. But you guys, when you guys get rejected, it's a whole different ball game. You wanna cry foul. You want to cry foul and say all niggas ain't shit. See, when it's just the ones you've selected. See, so a part of what Kevin Samuels do, he's showing women you need to be a little more practical.
He's not showing women anything. And we're gonna agree to disagree. Okay. He's not showing women anything. He is belittling. He is degrading, especially the young Black woman. And we just saw it. We just saw it. So what I want you guys to do is, you guys hit Harrison up in regards, no bias, no nothing.
Oh, hit me up,
Kevin Samuels for yourself, please. Hit Harrison up. And let him know, do you believe that this man speaks to the women in a way that is uplifting and encouraging, and in a way that is helping the Black community?
I didn't say that. He never said he does that.
He's saying, how he says it, and that the fact that he's doing it for money only. He cares less about anybody. He cares so less about any of this bullshit that he's spewing out of his butthole. He won't even tell people what relationship he's in. He doesn't give a F about us so much that he says, fuck you guys. You guys are worth knowing who I'm dating.
Well, you know why?
He said it because he's a fake fraud.
Because he's in a Black community who worships Negroes. No. Because he's a part of a Black community who worship preachers and worship men. So if he's taking advantage of that just a little bit, right, shame on him. But he's Black, and he's dealing with melanated people who worship preachers, who don't check people's resumes.
Exactly.
So fuck him to that degree. We shouldn't be putting that much stock in what another man is saying anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can snap your fingers if you want. But
that
I know that's positive. I know you agreeing with me. But there's a nugget of truth in what he says to women.
Okay, I'll agree.
You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. The brother has some points. I look at the totality of what somebody's bringing to the table. But I'm not gonna follow him like that.
Shit to the Black community.
What'd you say?
Totality, like you want to use your arms and stuff. The totality is he ain't shit. That's it.
Okay, sure.
He ain't shit.
Okay. That's your opinion. Now, let me ask you just a personal question, just real quick before we get off, because I gotta go. But let me ask you a personal question real quick, because I think this happens to women too. I'm not coming at you, but this happens to women too.
You can ask me anything.
Let's say
my truth.
Let's say, because Shireen's truth, right? So let's keep it real.
Indeed.
Let's say you were a woman, because you mentioned your stats a few minutes ago. You mentioned your age, your status, things like that. So let me ask you a question. If you were a woman, if you right now had a man that made $200,000, $300,000, a millionaire
or 200,000, 300,000.
He made a lot of money, and he made you comfortable. Would you still feel the same way about Kevin Samuels? If you were comfortable, if you had a man and you were comfortable,
I would still feel the same way.
You would still feel the same way.
Yeah, I don't like Kevin Samuels' delivery, and I know his true intent. My heart and my intuition. I'm not God, but I don't like his intent. I don't think he's sincere, and I don't think he's trying to help.
Okay.
So if somebody is doing something to me to harm my community for money, I don't respect it, whether there's truth in it or not. I know there's a lot of people speaking some truth and things of that nature. There are women that want to be taken care of, and they are setting their, I don't know, they could be setting their expectations high.
Which would make them
It's not delusional.
Wait, no, see, you knew what I was you knew what I was gonna say, Shereen. If you
Another word for delusional.
that,
Hold on.
see, hey, now what you're doing on some real shit. Now what you're doing is being a woman, Shereen. You're trying to recontextualize. You know damn well a woman who is unrealistic, a person who's unrealistic. You
Okay,
can be
unrealistic is
delusional.
better. Even if I don't like his terms. Terms are important. Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. told me that, and I'm sticking to it. Terms are important.
So
we don't
unrealistic
call
is
our
better
black
than delusional.
This is what we don't call our black young women delusional.
Wait a minute.
We might say they're being unrealistic a little bit.
So
It's your
okay.
turn.
So softballing, so
whatever you want to call it.
So
but
wait,
if that young lady was your daughter or anybody in your family,
she wouldn't be listening to Kevin Samuels because she would have a father in her life.
Now I'm asking you. Remember, you gave me a scenario, I gave you an honest answer. I still wouldn't like him.
Yes.
I still wouldn't like him, regardless if I had a millionaire or not. Now, if that was your daughter or your niece or you would agree with the way he was talking to her? Just
she wouldn't call Kevin Samuels show.
Okay, see, you're being delusional because I'm giving you an example.
Wait, don't call me delusional.
You could be
terms matter, Shereen.
I'm specifically. Okay, so listen.
See how you women operate.
I don't want to cuss. I don't want to cuss. So I'm gonna stay calm. But F Kevin Samuels. That's how I feel. I don't give a damn if he's speaking any type of truth. I don't give a damn about nothing that man is saying. Okay. F that man. F him and feed him fish.
Okay. Well, that's not uplifting, Shereen. That's not uplifting our community. I don't see how that's gonna help.
I can't with you today. Lord.
All right. So thank you very much for your input. Okay, I get it. You don't like.
You sound so disappointed with me today. You mad?
I'm not mad, but women need to be. My whole point, just on some real shit. The brother do say some stuff that I don't agree with. His Eurocentric aspect of what high value is, what giving women a number. That's all. That's some bullshit. But
so smart.
The whole point is, women need to be held accountable. And women in society today, especially our women, they're allowed to run rampant and nobody tells them nothing. And that's not going to affect our babies correctly.
That part of it. I don't. Okay, I hear you.
It happens. That's not going to affect our future. That's not going to help their babies. I know a lot of black women in our community who.
But we know why they're not getting being held accountable. They
why
don't
not?
Have anybody to hold them accountable.
What you mean?
They don't have that family unit. They don't have the support system.
See, that's kind of like.
I know that's true in some cases, right?
Well,
you're gonna deny that?
Kinda, okay. But you have to read a book yourself. You have to seek. It's not about somebody making you accountable as much as you saying, I'm going to be accountable myself. Nobody in my life made me accountable for these kids. I had to read books. I had to listen when people said shit, when somebody said you ain't shit right now, I had to take heed. I couldn't be like, no, it ain't because, no, it's because it is because niggas ain't shit. No, I couldn't give excuses. Men, we're not really allowed to give excuses. If so, you weak, you ain't this, you ain't that. All I'm saying is, and I love my black women, we just need to hold them more accountable. And if I had a daughter,
we need to hold each other more accountable, Harrison. And again, at the end of the day, we need to work on individually working on our healing, so that when we do come together, we create a balance, that we're balanced and we bring balance into the relationship. Individually, we all need to heal.
That's true, and we need to get to a point where we don't worship. And because of religion, I think that's a part of the reason why a man can come along and hypnotize everybody the way they do, because we still looking at a white Jesus. If everybody had a more of a black and African center, you would look in Kevin Samuels like a footnote. Like it wouldn't even bother you like that. But I think because we're in this society where we need somebody to tell us something, we need somebody to tell us some shit to make us feel good. A person like him can come along and garner the attention that he's garnered. You know what I mean? So I see why people wouldn't like his approach.
And I
also see why people would.
And I understand what you're saying. There's probably hundreds of thousands of men that think like Kevin Samuels. Mm-hmm. Kevin Samuels is able to be heard is because he basically is very smart, and he was able to play into the game to get the followers. Mm-hmm. So it's a different time. So that's why he's making so much noise, and that's why we're talking about him. If it were pre-social media days, we wouldn't even know Kevin Samuels. He may have a following, but we wouldn't have known about it. It wouldn't affect people. It wouldn't make people so angry. It wouldn't make people going against each other. But because of social media, he has touched a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because because our community is like bereft of so many things that we need. I mean, if he didn't do what he's doing now, he could just go be a pastor and
some of the things
get all his bread that way.
Some of the things that Kevin Samuels may be true, Harrison.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you, as simple as this, if you are rating women, you are degrading women.
Well, wait a minute. He didn't create the rating system. He didn't create that.
I'm not talking about if he created it or not.
But it was out there already.
It doesn't matter. He is using it and abusing it. And he's creating generation after generation that are going to think that women are numbers, and women that think they need to be a certain way. Yeah. No, women, you do not need a man to make you feel adequate. You do not. You do not need a high value man to make you feel adequate. If you are on welfare, you can get off of welfare one day. It may take you some time. Just write down what you want to do and start crossing off the list.
Why don't you have a job?
You need to listen to Kevin Samuels. Okay,
Shireen, why is she on welfare?
Worthy. You are much, and Kevin Samuels is full of shit. All right? All right. That's straight. Power Moves Presents says that, and that's I'm not going to change on that because I don't like his delivery. I don't like him rating me. I'm not a damn car. I'm not an object.
You're right.
And I don't like his delivery.
All right, you're right. You're right. Well, I appreciate you coming on my show today. Disagreeing with me for an hour.
He's like I said. You said I appreciate you coming on my show today
and disagreeing with me for an hour. But that's good dialogue. I knew you were going to take that approach, and like I was saying before the show, that's necessary. Like we got to be able to have these conversations with each other. We're not always going to agree. Like you got to realize people that you listen to and people that you become fond of, don't idolize the person because you're not going to agree with them all the time. And that's fine. You know what I mean? So in our community, we do need a lot of healing. There's a lot of things that we need. Yes. But if people need to learn how to take bits and pieces from things they like and leave the rest alone. Like if he says a few things that you like, rock with that. He may not say everything that you want to hear. And that's fine. Because of that, you don't gotta hate the brother or berate the brother or whatever, because I think we need to be there for our kids and our families. Like I was telling you, if I had a daughter, she wouldn't even need to listen to no shit like that because I'll be gaming her up. Maybe he's taking advantage of these women who don't have that, but women need to be accountable as well. So thank you again.
That's the problem. He's taking advantage.
I knew you was going to hold on to that. Okay. All right, Shireen. So thank you very much for coming on to the show today. We're going to do this again. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, again, it's your girl, Power Moves Presents.
At fuckkevinsamuels.com.
Exactly. So you can reach me right now. You see our names in our Instagram on here, c.legend 2.0 Instagram. You can follow me there. I actually have a Shireen Briggs Facebook and also Power Moves Presents. And again, I'm building. So just be looking out for a lot coming from Power Moves Presents. I am the people's journalist. I am the journalist, SAC report, voices of the street. I keep it real. I keep it 100. And everything that I do is for the upliftment and the empowerment of my people. So it's not that I hate Kevin Samuels. I don't hate people. I just don't personally believe that he is doing anything to uplift a race. I don't. By you telling young Black women how to find rich men and not work and not get education or not open their own businesses, just find somebody rich. I don't find value in that.
I understand.
And so that's the end about that. Yeah. So I appreciate you, Harrison. Thanks for having me. You know that action, advocating change, inspiring others nationwide. Recently traveled to Jamaica right before COVID. I spoke to young women there about self-love, self-respect, self-worth, self-awareness. Action is my community organization, and I focus on the overall mental health of young girls and women. So, of course, Harrison, you chose the wrong topic. You dealing with a woman's advocate, a young girl's advocate, a woman that grew up without a father. And I'll be damned if any of my uncles ever spoke to me about like that, about real life. And my Uncle Hayes and my Uncle Henry, they spoke to me about real life every day. And they never talked to me like that.
I understand.
So congratulations, Kevin Samuels. I hope that you reap what you sow in life. What you put out in the world, I hope that you get it back. I'm
okay, Shireen. Okay. Thank you. I get it. And I appreciate your input. Like I said, you coming with this energy and speaking the way you speak, I think that's necessary. And you speaking your truth as your title, Shireen's Truth. So I'm fucking with that. So again, y'all, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Melanated TV, the Melanated Fathers TV YouTube channel as soon as possible if you haven't did it yet. Everybody who's listening on all of the digital platforms, like I said, I appreciate the downloads go up weekly. I definitely appreciate that. This has been another episode of the Melanated Convo podcast.
It's Power Moves Presents, your girl Shireen Briggs.
There we go. We out. See y'all later.